Shabbat Shalom. We begin our worship on page 128 with Ma Yafeh Hayom. How lovely today is. Shabbat Shalom.
Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with Romemu in the middle of page 135. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Please join me now in Lecha Dodi as we welcome the Sabbath bride on pages 138 and 139. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi
And we now continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue on page 125. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide.
Continue now on page 144. Yitkadal veyitkadash shmei Rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei.
B'chayechon ufyomechon ufchayei chol Beit Yisrael. Bagala uvizman kariv.
Veimeru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam ul'olmei almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach ve'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam ve'yitnaseh, ve'yitadar ve'yitale ve'yitalal, Shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'imeru, Amen.
We continue with Baruch Hu, our call to worship on page 146. Please rise if you are able. Page 148. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitfuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, v'mishmerotehem barakir kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid imloch aleinu leolam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 150.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochbeinu v'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha, u'b'mitzvotecha, le'olam, le'olam va'ed. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Ki hem chayenu be'orech yameinu, uvahem neged yomam v'layla, ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, le'olamim. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael, ohev amo Yisrael. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta.
So invite us to take a deep breath in and exhale out. Take another deep breath in as we breathe in that sense of Shabbat. And exhale out, Mishagas. Another deep breath in as we breathe in that sense of shalom, of wholeness and completeness. And exhale out all that negative energy within us.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Together on page 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God.
We continue on page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We continue on page 158 with Mi Chamocha. We continue on page 162 with Vishamru.
השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We continue now with the central portion of our worship with our tefillah. Please rise if you are able.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Koneh Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Page 173. We join together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Page 175 on the bottom of the page. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha bi'irah na'avod. Page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lacher na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav. Ki ata u'melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata u'melech Adon, melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך, בשלומך. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav.
I invite us now to take a deep breath in and exhale out as we now reflect on that makor shalom, that source of peace that lies within each one of us, as we pause now in silent reflection.
nigion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, ve'koali, ve'koali.
We now focus our energies toward those who are ill and in need of healing. On this Shabbat, we think of Salia Melendez, Chana bat Miriam, Eliana bat Chana, Robert Berg, Barbara Berlant, Mort Berlant, Dr. Arnold Berliner, Sarah Beinstock, Sandy Beinstock, Rich Burns, Esther Burton, Dr. Ed Kahn, Bob Kant, Chana Rivka bat Rachel, Nicole Chapman, Hadley Crane, Elise Epstein, Peter Fadum, Jason Fishoff, Carolyn Franklin, Barbara Fiedman, Holly Fugit, Betty Garcia, Sharon Jenkin, Mary Gold, Jennifer Guerrera, Phil Hammer, Courtney Hansen, Dr. Gary Height, Lee Henderson, Barbara Jackowitz, Linda Johnson, Selma Karcham, Evan Krieger, Evelyn Katz-McCosker, Petrus Lacey, Liatzvia Batliba Elchanan, Janice Lucero, Young Sung Lot, Carol Lerner, Shirley Lerner, Gary Levine, Penny Levine, Litia Leos, Bobby Lotman, Austin Lucero, Carrie Medina, Eva Misley, Peggy Monroe, Brad Parkins, Esther Richmond, Linda Rogers, Marilyn Rudy, Dolores Sams Hoy, Harriet Saltzman, Gary Sanders, Laura Sanders, Teresa Sandoval, Donna Shine, Rabbi Marvin Schwab, Sybil Summer, Donna Thyman, Famtai Trang, Teresa Walsh, Claire Cecil Watson, Rosanna Wershing, Jeannie Watson, Nancy Weisenfeld, Karen Williams, Sue Witten, Sherman Wong, and everyone who is suffering from coronavirus, as we join together praying for their better health.
Refainu Adonai v'nei Rapha, Hoshienu v'ni v'sheya, El karov lechol
We continue now with the word of Torah. This week's parashah from the book of Exodus is titled Vayera, and in the portion, Moses attempts to work with Pharaoh to free the Israelites. The first seven plagues are featured. In chapter 6, verses 6 through 8, God assures Moses that the groans of the Israelites in bondage have been heard, and that the covenant with their ancestors will be kept. And from this passage, our sages derive the tradition of drinking 4 cups of wine at the Pesach Seder that correspond to 4 verbs of divine action promised to Moses. And they are, Hotzeti, I will free you from the labors of the Egyptians. Hitzalti, I will deliver you from their bondage. Ga'alti, I will redeem you with an outstretched arm. Lakachti, I will take you to be my people. Combined we have, I will free, I will deliver, I will redeem, and I will take. These divine actions remind us of the basic needs we all have. I will free, I will deliver, I will redeem, and I will take. All of these actions are about tzedek, justice. Don't all people deserve tzedek, justice? What a perfect Torah portion for this MLK Shabbat. And as you know, our movement is dedicated and committed to racial equity, diversity, and inclusion. And each year, the Reformed Jewish movement honors the legacy of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by commemorating the Shabbat nearest to MLK Day as Shabbat Tzedek. On this Shabbat, we remember the life and work of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and celebrate the hard-fought victories of the civil rights movement. It is also a time of reflection and recommitment as our movement renews its efforts in the struggle for racial justice in North America. In our Torah portion, God instructs Moses and Aaron to deliver the Israelites from Egypt. The brothers approach Pharaoh to demand their freedom, but Pharaoh refuses. In response to this cruelty, as I stated earlier, God unleashes the first of 7 plagues upon the Egyptians. In Vayera, we read about the unrelenting pursuit of justice of our early leaders. Rather than passively accept the unfair treatment of the Israelites, Moses and Aaron directly protest their condition in the halls of power. When their demands are rebuffed, they remain steadfast, and they continue to lobby Pharaoh on behalf of the Jewish people. While we celebrate the great achievements of the civil rights era, we have no illusions about the progress yet to be achieved. More than 55 years after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dreamed of an America that treated all her citizens equally, Black people today still face substantial barriers to achieving full equality and justice. Black men and boys are 2.5 times more likely to die during a police encounter than their white counterparts. Black and brown people are also more likely to be stopped by police. Those stops are more likely to result in frisks, searches, and arrests than those involving white individuals. And hate crimes have increased in recent years, with crimes motivated by race, ethnicity, or ancestry constituting the majority of hate crimes committed in the United States, with anti-Black hate crimes accounting for nearly half of racially motivated hate crimes and a plurality of hate crimes across all categories. Last week's insurrection in Washington, D.C. was yet another example of backlash, or whitelash, to progress. The dark forces of white supremacy and systemic racism that continue to plague our nation sought to overturn the outcome of America's democratic process, a process that saw a biracial presidential ticket overwhelmingly supported by people of color, women, and other historically marginalized groups. As we witness attempts to undermine democracy, it is incumbent upon us to protect and build upon past progress for civil rights like the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Unfortunately, these fundamental democratic rights have been under assault long before the events of January 6th. In 2013, the Supreme Court, in its ruling in Shelby County v. Holder, rendering the Voting Rights Act practically unenforceable. The decision threw out a key provision called pre-clearance, which had allowed the Department of Justice to block onerous, racist voting laws in states and jurisdictions with a history of voter suppression and disenfranchisement. The pre-clearance provision has led the Department of Justice to call the Voting Rights Act the single most effective piece of civil rights legislation ever passed by Congress. How proud we are as a movement that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was signed in the offices of the Religious Action Center of our own reform movement. Because in the end, we know that all of us want to be free, to be delivered, to be redeemed, and to be taken into the fold. May we on this Shabbat Tzedek be inspired to continue the immense work we have as a people and as a nation to bring justice and unity to all people. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will, but my friends, may this be our work.
Tzedek, tzedek, tirdov. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdov. A rainbow emerges through storms in the night. Rise arise. The call of the chorus that sparks up the fight. Rise arise. Shaking off shivers of terror and fear. Rise arise. Uri, uri, dabri shir. Rise arise. Rise arise. Rise arise. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdov. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdov. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdov. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdov. May the work that I do bring me closer to you, Adonai. May the song that I sing, may the love that I bring come to you, Adonai. Working the land and praying with my hands, bless this team, Adonai. Marching in the streets and praying with my feet, walk with me, Adonai.
We continue with Elena on page 586. Please rise if you're able.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet gedula le'otzer breshit, shehu notei shamayim ve'oser haaretz, u'moshev yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo begofhei meromim, u'Eloheinu ein od, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We now come to the moment in our service when we think about members of our family and community who have died recently and in years past. On this Shabbat, we are mindful of those that are grieving the Shiva, the first week of mourning for Gunter Vogler, father of Roy Vogler, father-in-law of Rachel Vogler, grandfather of Sarah Vogler. We also think of Leonid Fertelmeister, grandfather of Mark Fertelmeister, as well as those that are grieving the Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning for Father Bill Leninger, Lois Rosette, as well as those that are grieving the Shana, the first year mourning for Gary Acknan, Marion Bergoffen, Tony Berliner, Raymond Berman, Idel Kagan, Dory Cohen, Rabbi Sissy Koren, Rebecca Lindecker, Benny Schumann Donald, Vladimir Doktorovich, Bert Epstein, Glenn Farber, Beverly Furman, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Helen Marchuk Goldman, Bernice Green, Susan Hammer, Bob Hirsch, Seema Jaffe, Jerry Kane, Rita Kane, Michal Lubin, David Dudy Messinger, Irene Neal, Richard Pascoe, Nancy Pfister, Cami Resnick, Curtis Lee Robinson, Edith Robinson, Rabbi Kenneth Roseman, Laura Marie Rosen, Barbara Rudnecki, Ruth Silen, Marilyn Silver, Francis Singer, B. Chandler Shaw, Greg Stiller, Joel Strauss, Carol Wachtenheim. We also think of the following yahrzeits that we observe on this Shabbat as we think of Ethel Asher, Ben Atlas, Irving Borowski, Bessie Cohen, Alan Danoff, Sam Fishback, Jean Fox, Terry Freeling, Dora Morris Green, Samuel Gutman, Ruth Gutman, Cynthia Hirwagen, Lena Heller, Irving Hirsch, Robert Hoffman, Morris Katz, David Koenig, Joe Lauren, William Medeiros Sr., Fred Oken, Helen Parrish, Maria Purr, Victor Ratner, Ida Ress, Mildred Cohn Rosen, Judge Martin Rothenberg, Bernard Rubenstein, Eileen Rudin, Leo Sachs, Sylvia Zaslaw, Alice Sklar, Simon Slater, Esther Slavin, Howard Steiner, Miriam Winter, Lola Zeidenweber. Zichronam livracha, may the memories of all of our loved ones endure as a blessing.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי והמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה וזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעולם מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה משמיה וחיים עלינו וכל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Shabbat Shalom. My name is Kim Jackman, and on behalf of Temple Emanu-El's Board of Trustees, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our streaming Erev Shabbat service. Right after services tonight, we invite you to join us for a Zoom Oneg with our clergy. Then tomorrow night at 7 p.m., celebrate MLK Weekend with an amazing Freedom concert produced by Cantor Edmondson. She has lined up an extraordinary array of musicians, so don't miss out on this streaming event, only available tomorrow night. On Sunday afternoon at 4, join Rabbi Magat and other community faith leaders for an interfaith service. On Tuesday, January 19th, join in on Rabbi's weekly Tuesday chat at noon. Next Friday, January 22nd, our Kabbalat Shabbat service will be streamed at 6:30 p.m. And if you're interested in Adult Beginning Hebrew, Phil Hankin will be starting a new session on Mondays at 7, beginning January 25th. Finally, tickets are on sale now for the APJCC's annual Jubilee Day of Jewish Learning, which will take place on Sunday, January 31st at 1:30 p.m. This promises to be an extraordinary Tikkun Olam experience. Rabbi Magat and other Temple Emanu-El members will be involved. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom.